So my topic for the day is digital book printing. Is it present or is it a future, right? So let's answer this question in a few slides from now. So let's look at the journey of book printing. 2000 में 12 ppm की प्रिंट निकलती थी जेरोक्स की मशीनों पे. फिर उसके बाद Konica Minoltas, Ricos, Canons, they all came up, and the OPEX came down, the CAPEX also came down. We were able to do around 20 to 100 copies on digital, right? Good quality stuff, but not enough to touch the offset industry. They were like, ये करने दो इनको जो करते हैं types. ये क्या हुआ? करने दो जो करते हैं types. Okay. Sheet fed inkjet came up. We have people from Riso here. They started coming out with more economical solutions, and we were able to do 100 to 200 books digitally on map litho paper. All right. Again, we were not able to touch offset. Offset was at a different scale altogether. And then finally we have Mr. Vijay Jadhav from Repro India. He's a pioneer. Repro India is a pioneer in India. जिन्होंने Kodak Prosper लगाई, HP की presses लगाई और 500,000 किताबें वो digital से करना शुरू किया उन्होंने. So this is the journey till COVID times. This doesn't work very properly. कैसे करते हैं भाई? हो गया नहीं, but ये बार-बार click करना पड़ रहा है. The real revolution started happening post COVID, and this revolution was actually initiated by a lot of vendors in China. Okay, even we went and researched a lot of these machines in China, and things suddenly started changing post COVID, right? So these machines, they had lower capex cost, lower ink cost, quality was fairly good. They were able to print on both coated paper and uncoated paper. Inkjet earlier was only doing uncoated paper. This has a problem. Acha, equipment life. You know, up to now, digital was considered to be something which is short term. 2-4 साल चलता है, उसके बाद equipment change करना पड़ता है. This particular machines have a better equipment life. Okay, perhaps around 10 years, 15 years, we don't know, because these machines have just originated. पता नहीं कितने साल चलेंगी. But we are hoping that it will run longer. Okay. So overall, these machines were able to address the pain points which were there. CAPEX costs came down, OPEX came down, quality improved. Overall, they were able to compete with offset. इसके पहले offset the competition was almost not negligible. ठीक है? They're still struggling on it. Okay, we'll wait. And so, immediately after COVID, during COVID times, I was studying these presses in China. And immediately after COVID, when I got a chance, I couldn't go to China. I flew to Japan. There was an IGES show. And that's when I saw those particular machines there. And since then, this new journey has started, right? And we have installed around 20 odd machines in the country. And each one of our customers, 4 of them are in this room right now. Each one of these customers are doing very well. The statistics will come later, but I will continue. Together, these machines have produced करीब 125 crore A4 impressions, right? In a small period of, let's say, 1 year, approximately. Or all other brands, web-based inkjet solutions जो हैं, they would have done another 125 crore. So the entire, so within a period of a year and a half, 250 crore A4 pages digital में print हुए हैं for book printing this thing. 250 crore. तो अगर हम 125 पेज की किताब गिनते हैं तो करीब 2 करोड़ A4 pages, 2 crore books have been printed on digital, apart from repro figures. They remain at a different level altogether. These are the Chinese machines and some Indian made machines which we are talking about here. And the crossover point moved from 500, 1000 to 1000, 5000, right? So, and these machines are pretty stable. Digital, there was one issue कि यार, they kind of fail very often and all that stuff. That changed. They are running 24/7, 365 days. So जो हमारे को offset में जिस चीज़ की expectation है और हम deliver भी करते हैं, 24/7 operations है इसका. So let's look at, I've discussed this, but I'll go in more detail. Cost efficient, high speed. We are talking about here. Inkjet web presses will emerge as a strong alternative to offset, which we saw in the last 2 years. Sheet fed. देखिए, web is a bit more complicated, right? So we expect that the sheet fed inkjet presses, they will also mushroom a lot in the next few years, and they will also start coming into the market. Offset will start to find a decent competition, and then the offset printers will have to start looking at investing in digital. Yesterday, Rishabh Kohli made a good analysis. He said that if you're at a 50-50 ratio, you make the maximum profit for yourself. 50% offset and 50% digital. It was a very good eye-opening presentation. So I believe that offset printers will be compelled to go and have a digital solution. Also, with any technology which comes up very quickly, we also see that after some time there is a fallout. There is a consolidation. There are some players who emerge stronger, and there are some players who will wipe out. So this also is expected. So one has to be careful in investing in this technology. At this, let's not forget, these machines are coming from China, and China is notorious for what, as you know, they're not very reliable as suppliers. And what I have already seen, the fifth point, existing customers who have bought our first machine, almost like 60% of my customers who bought the first machine are in the process of buying the second machine. So they have understood the business model very clearly, while others are still sitting on the fence कि करना है, नहीं करना है, सही है, गलत है, वगैरह वगैरह. लेकिन जो इस लाइन में जा चुके हैं, they have decided to go for the second press, the third press. Right? There's one customer here who's already ordered the third press. Right? So what I personally believe, this is my analysis. I have been in this industry for 30 years. My credentials are that in India, people were not used to buying brand new offset presses. We brought in Kumori in India, and today Kumori is the leading supplier of offset machines in the country, right? And I left that particular business a few years ago, and then I moved on to digital, right? So I believe that I have some experience in offset industry, which I can bring it into the digital industry. I believe that offset sheet-fed printing will face serious challenges in the next 10 years, okay? And bulk of the printing will happen either on a heat set web or a cold set web when you want to do 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 1 lakh copies of the book, and rest will move on to inkjet webs. The sheet-fed offset process of making a book is one of the most cumbersome processes, and that will die. That's my analysis. Maybe I am wrong. Now, this is a standard graph of how a new technology emerges, right? It's not something which is common to, unique to us. And this is the point. This is where we are, okay? The innovators are the repros and the Manipals who went into this particular technology, and now the early adopters who understood the technology, they felt they can get into it, they took the risks. And today, as we discuss, we are at this point. And now I'm assuming that a lot of pragmatic, practical business owners, printers, will start to rapidly, invest into this particular thing, because this is where is the best time. After that, you start to decline, your profit margins start to decline, your customers have already gone away, your publishers have already got locked to some other printers, etc., etc. So we are right at the point, and if you see, आज अगर आप देखो, आज ये जो conference हुई है, मेरे ख्याल से 15 स्टॉल्स हैं नीचे। 15 में से 10 स्टॉल्स आर फोकसिंग ऑन बुक प्रिंटिंग। 7 उसमें वेंडर हैं जो मशीनें बेच रहे हैं, एक वो इंक क्लीनिंग वाला है जो मेनली इंकजेट हमारी मशीनें हैं तो इंक क्लीनिंग के लिए चाहिए, एक पेपर वाला है, और एक हमारे साजिद भाई हैं बाइंडवेयर। 10 people focused on book printing out of the 15, 16 odd stalls. I didn't count them. 18, okay. He has the exact figure. Out of 18, 10 of them are focused on book printing, which very clearly shows that this is no more the future. This particular technology is now the correct technology to get into. Okay, this is a data from US, which I believe, my personal belief is, मेरे को data तो present करना था, कहीं ना कहीं से data जो मैंने लिया है, but मेरे को ये लगता है कि ये data change होगा. Let me explain how. We are at 2025, we are up, it says around 830 US dollars million, 830 million US dollars is what is digital as on date. And they project by 2034, we will be 5.2 billion. मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि this figure will be higher, simply because today ये figures are from US. Perhaps they have still not tested these machines from China, right? So they have not factored in that particular equation. मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है. So this figures may change. But even with these figures, let's assume these people have done the research and they are accurate. We are talking of 6 times growth in the next 9 to 10 years, okay? So this is common knowledge, but ठीक है, presentation बनानी है तो कुछ बोलना पड़ेगा. So profitability में tension है ही है for all offset printers, you know, they are struggling with it, with so much competition and all that stuff. And all publishers are moving towards short quantities. They don't want inventories, they don't want warehouses, they want their warehouses trimmed down, etc., etc. And environmental. Environmental यार मेरे को तो समझ नहीं आता, क्योंकि जब तक डंडा नहीं पड़ता तब तक तो मैं एनवायरनमेंट की तरफ देखता भी नहीं. मेरा यही है, और मेरे ख्याल से बहुत सारे प्रिंटर्स यही करते हैं. बड़ी बड़ी बातें करने के लिए अच्छा है एनवायरनमेंट. बट पॉइंट ये है कि अगर हम एनवायरनमेंट को भी हेल्प कर सकें without becoming expensive, तो फिर तो सोने पे सुहागा है. You know, it's much better, right? So मैंने आज तक 30 सालों में मेरे को किसी ने 10% प्रीमियम नहीं दिया एनवायरनमेंट फ्रेंडली के बारे में. 2-4% अलग बात है, right? So ठीक है, we talk about environment, but now is the time when we can also focus on environment along with a good business sense, okay? So inkjet web is the solution, all right? So this is where we continue to draw conclusions towards this particular technology. Okay, ये मैंने बात कर ही ली थी while we were struggling with the pointer. Okay, so ये statistics आपके लिए है कि करीब 2 करोड़ books already inkjet web presses पे छप चुकी हैं पिछले 1-1.5-2 सालों के अंदर, right? So quite a few people in this particular room have not seen these machines up to now. I think 80% of them already seen it, but there are still 20% who are absolutely raw on this technology. So I will have no option but to run that particular technology session for those who don't know this particular press. So this is how it looks basically. So you know, this is the front, this is printing the front, this is printing the back, this is the buffering unit, and this particular box is the innovation which China brought in. So this particular box, they basically, you know, we used to have machines from Hunkler. Vijayji just told he bought a machine from Magnum, which was double the, or more expensive the cost than the printing unit. So this is the innovation which China brought in, wherein the slitting, cutting, stacking, and book block making is happening in this particular box. Okay, and this changed the overall scenario. The cost came down, the OPEX came down, etc., etc. So this is how the press looks. This is for a color machine. Okay, And so let's go through a few specifications of this press. Earlier, the presses needed a coater or before the printing started, there was a coater required, or there was a profiler required, or primer required. Yeah. Nowadays, those things are not needed anymore because the technology has matured enough, and we don't need a primer anymore. They print from 40 GSM to 200 GSM. We have recently launched a press which can do even 400 GSM. But standard in case of books, we are talking of 20 to 200 GSM. And they have this automated software. We don't have to do anything. We just have to throw the PDF file. They'll do the imposition, and they'll start printing. Right? Once you set the press, front and back registration and color registration, no need to do for every job. You just set it, and then it keeps happening. And once in a while, if it goes bad, you need to redo it. But you don't do it for every job. You just do it once. All right? 2 to 4 picoliter drop size ho chuka hai. So earlier it was higher, 5 picoliters. Now it's come down to 1.5 picoliters. So the quality levels have reached a level where nobody can claim कि यार मजा नहीं आया. ये हम तो offset ही जा रहे हैं. चल जाएगा. We are not saying हम 21 हैं offset से, but हम 19 हैं. अच्छा, speeds बढ़ गई हैं. When we started, we were talking about 75 meters per minute. Now we are talking of 150 meters per minute. So at 75 meters per minute, we were competing with offset in terms of productivity and efficiency. At 150 meters per minute, I can compete with a 8 color offset. With 75 meters per minute, I am competing with a 4 color offset. जो sheet pad की बात हो रही है, web की बात नहीं हो रही. So we are talking of speeds which are equivalent to a 8 color offset press. And the inks, आप अगर offset का paper लेके उसको आप rub करोगे ना, तो ink निकल जाएगी. इसमें फिर भी better है. So inks are also very good, pigmentings and all that stuff. So overall, the technology has matured. The quality levels are good. It's there. One can go and invest into it. Let's look at this particular press. I won't run the entire video, but still I need to run this to show people who have not seen this particular press. So as we saw, the unwinder. Now this is a monochrome press. Okay, so you have both the units, the front and the back, in the same box, right? That's the computer on which everything happens, right? This is the buffering unit. And this is what I talked about, the slitting, cutting, and stacking unit. Now, the beauty of this particular box is it can do variable cutting. Unlike a web press, which has a fixed cutoff of 546 or 578 or whatever, this one is a variable cutting press, variable cutting. So you can do an A4 size book. Suddenly, if you want to do a 280 cut, वो कर सकते हो. Crown size करना है, crown कर लो. A5 करना है, A5 कर लो, वगैरह वगैरह. अच्छा, अब ये पूरी प्रेस एक आदमी चला रहा है, कोई लेबर नहीं चाहिए. यही जो ऑपरेटर है, जो फाइलें फायर करेगा, वो ही ये पेपर लोड कर रहा है. ओके, और ये पूरी प्रेस वो चलाएगा. एक बार उसने पेपर लोड किया, 5 मिनट लगे, ये उसने उसको ज्वाइन किया पुराने पेपर को नए पेपर के साथ, एंड देन दैट्स डन. थोड़ा सा वेस्टेज होगा, एंड देन द प्रिंटिंग स्टार्ट्स. Okay, so it's very, very convenient. आपकी प्री प्रेस के अंदर प्लेट मेकिंग खत्म हो गई, प्रोसेसिंग खत्म हो गई, पेपर को सेट करने के लिए गिलेटिन में सेट करने का वो काम खत्म हो गया, एवरीथिंग गॉन. दैट वाज अ वेब क्लीनअप. सो पेपर में जो डस्ट होती है वो उसको क्लीन कर देता है. एंटी स्टैटिक, बिकॉज व्हेन वी आर रनिंग एट वेरी वेरी हाई स्पीड, द स्टैटिक्स गेट जनरेटेड. That goes away with the anti-static bar. So let me stop after showing you the book block getting made on the finishing side. This is the buffering unit. Now, what does the buffering unit do? The printing continues. The printing continues for a very short period, for a couple of seconds. Not a couple of seconds. Let's say 10-20 seconds. When the stack is moving away, is being moved out into the stacker, the buffering unit comes into play to hold the paper, and the printing then again continues at the full speed. So speed doesn't stop when we are moving the paper, out. And चाइनीज मशीन है तो चाइनीज सॉफ्टवेयर तो रहेगा ही भाई, उसको कुछ नहीं कर सकते। मैंने वॉइस कम कर रखी है, थोड़ी सी बढ़ा दो। हाँ, तो ये है आपका वर्टिकल स्लेटर, दिस वन। थोड़ी सी वॉइस बढ़ा देना वीडियो की। आई थिंक यू पॉज द वीडियो। पॉज नहीं करना है भाई। अरे यार, वो बुक ब्लॉग देखना था ना आपको कि आगे चलें? आप बताओ, आपने नहीं देखी मशीन? हाँ, हाँ, अरे यार, ये इसको फॉरवर्ड करो, फिर फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हो? नहीं, इतना नहीं होगा। आई थिंक लेट्स स्किप। हाँ, लेट्स स्किप। ठीक है। सो ओके, सो अगेन ट्राइंग टू इन्फ्लुएंस एवरीबडी इन दिस रूम दैट वी आर इन द राइट डायरेक्शन। ऑफसेट में दुनिया भर की चीज़ें चाहिए, यहाँ पर सिर्फ 3 चीज़ों में दिमाग लगाना है। कौन सी प्रेस खरीदनी है, कौन सा पेपर खरीदना है, और इंक का प्राइस क्या है, बस। और किस में दिमाग नहीं लगना है, राइट? यहाँ ना प्लेट्स खरीदने का टेंशन, ना प्लेट्स को डिस्पोज करने का टेंशन, ना ब्लैंकेट खरीदने का टेंशन, ना डिस्पोज करने का टेंशन। हाँ, ये बड़ी हम कॉमन स्लाइड यूज़ करते हैं, हाँ, लोगों को दिखाने के लिए कि हम डिजिटल हैं। ये देखिए, पेपर वेस्ट इन ऑफसेट एंड अ प्लेट वेस्ट इन ऑफसेट, एंड पेपर वेस्ट इज कंपैरेटिवली much lower on the inkjet web press. So ये इंटरेस्टिंग है एक स्लाइड। I thought I should keep it for all the printers because they'll quickly understand it. So on one side I have the various book sizes with additional 3 mm trim margins, the number of ups it can go when I am printing on a 440 model. कौन सा पेपर रील विड्थ मेरे को लेना पड़ेगा टू कवर दैट पर्टिकुलर साइज ऑफ बुक, ग्रेन डायरेक्शन मेरा क्या रहेगा when I am taking that kind of a book, and what is the throughput I will get per hour at 60% efficiency when I am having a 100 meters per minute press. Okay, so approximately we are looking at a figure of 50,000 A4s per hour on a 60% efficiency at 60 meters per minute press, right? And nowadays the speeds have almost doubled. So we are looking at approximately 80,000-90,000 A4s per hour, okay? And A5s accordingly go double. Now this is on a 440 press, okay? And this is the speeds on a 660. 660 is 25 by 37. 440 is 17-23 kind of a press. So इसके अंदर we are talking of around 75,000 A4s per hour, now touching 125,000 A4s per hour with higher speed machines, okay? And you typically get 3 ups in these kind of machines, okay? And so as I have been talking throughout the presentation, the cutoff, the crossover point is touching around 5,000, but it will depend. अभी फिलहाल 1,500, 2,000 comfort zone है. It is not 5,000, but if the ink coverage is very low, then it can even touch 5,000. Okay, but offset becomes cheaper below the cutoff point, and it is in the region of 3,000 to 3,000 onwards. Let's put it 3,000 onwards. ये 5,000 का फिगर को आप डिस्काउंट कर दो, 3,000 फिलहाल पकड़ के चलो. right? Beyond 3,000, then offset now starts to become economical. Before 3,000, digital is a viable option. At times, it may be slightly expensive or almost the same price, and one has to take a judicious call कि यार इसको offset में डालना है या digital में डालना है. When we are talking of print runs between 2,000 to 3,000, right? So it's a very important slide for everybody's attention. Another technology comparison here between heat set web, cold set web, digital web, and sheet fed offset. Okay. So of course, in terms of quality, sheet fed offset is the best, right? But variable cutoff भी मिल जाएगा आपको, आप अपने size का paper लगा सकते हो, but आपको plates and make readies करनी है, right? और good brand new Komori 437 will deliver 50,000 to 75,000 A4s per hour, right? Heat set web and cold set web एक अलग level पे खेल रहे हैं, and let's compare these two to be more comfortable. Variable cutoff है, जबकि heat set web और cold set web में fixed cutoff होता है. Registration issues हैं, scum marks हैं, cold set web के अंदर, इसके अंदर वो issues कम हैं. सीधा complete book block बाहर निकलता है, page number 1 to page number 400. You just pick them up, go to Sajid's Bindwell press, Bindwell binder, and he will do the rest. Right, Sajid? Yeah. And the only raw material that you need is ink. Right? And as I mentioned here, today the presses are available which can deliver even up to 200,000 A4s per hour. Right? So these kind of speeds are now available on the machines. This 200,000 happens on our 880 press. You know, 440, 660, 880. So 880 running at 150 meters per minute. So it goes up to 200,000 A4s per hour. Crazy speeds, pretty decent speeds, rather better than offset. Anybody wants to have a question on this? थोड़ा monologue ही हो गया. We said we'll make it very interactive. Any questions up to now? No? Okay. So there are multiple models. I'll not spend too much time on it. We start from a 330 mm. As small as 330 mm, 440 mm, 660 mm, and 880 mm. Okay, so 330 takes care of A3, 440 is 18 23, 660 is 25 37, and then 880 is 36 size. Okay. Quite a few customers are in this room, right? And some of their statements. Again, I'll move forward. A slide on myself. I belong to Insight Print Communications. Our vision is to empower Indian print industry to move towards digital, right? And we have multiple solutions on that front. We have a solution for book printing. We have a solution. We will shortly have a solution for flexible packaging. This particular press in beta testing. We have a label press. Of course, we have the sheet-fed presses from Fujifilm and Epson. We have a wide format press from HP. We have a textile printing press from Mimaki. And we have an embellishment press from Scodix. All of them are digital solutions. So, yeah, that's our domain name, Insight Within. And, you know, so I hope I've added some insight to all of you to think within and get into this technology. So that's all that I have to say today. Thank you.